Teen Titans and Ageless Wonders. The first week of the age group semifinals is in the books. Individual games veterans lead the way in the 35 to 39-year-old divisions, while the youngsters show the future of the sport is bright. We'll recap all the action from week one of the semifinals for the Masters and teenagers next on Game Central. Hi everybody, welcome to an age group semifinals edition of Game Central. I'm Sean Woodland. Hope you're enjoying all the coverage of week 3 of semifinals for the individuals and the teams. Last week was the first of 2 weeks for the age groups in their online semifinals. The teenagers competed as well as the younger masters. They had 6 different workouts they had to compete in, and the top 10 athletes from each age group, they advanced to the 2022 Noble CrossFit Games. Let's start with the teenagers. Here are your top 3 finishers in each division. For the boys 14 to 15-year-old division, RJ Mestre swept every competition so far, first in the open, first in the online qualifier, and now first in the semifinals. And in the girls 16 to 17-year-old division, Olivia Kerstetter was second in the open and then back-to-back first place finishes in the online qualifier and in the semifinals. And remember, the top 10 athletes from each division advanced to the 2022 Noble CrossFit Games. And for a closer look at the teenage divisions, let's send it to Kayla Banfield.
Lots of excitement happening right now in the CrossFit world, and I'm sure a lot of relief for our teenagers who have just finished up their semifinals. Let's take a look at each division. Starting off with our girls 14 to 15-year-olds, no surprises to see Lucy McGonigal having a near perfect run and taking the win with a lowest score for the weekend of 7th. The girls 16 to 17-year-old category, another not surprising winner, Olivia Kerstetter, finishes on top with a total of 3 event wins. Moving over to our boys and starting with the 14 to 15-year-olds, RJ Mestre absolutely dominates, but he does take a lowest placing for the weekend of 13th. However, he finishes with a very impressive 91-point lead over Ko Subiono. And lastly, our boys 16 to 17-year-old division, a name that we haven't heard around here much before. Great to see some fresh faces on top. Caleb McClure takes a 27-point win over Ty Jenkins in a very tough 16 to 17-year-old division. A special shout out before we go goes to our Subiono brothers, who have both earned their tickets to the CrossFit Games this year as teenagers.
Thank you, Kayla. Let's turn our attention now to the younger masters, starting with the 35 to 39-year-old age divisions, and a handful of familiar names are inside the top 10 for both the men and the women. For the men, 4 games veterans are in the top 10. Frederica Gideus just missing out. He finished in 11th. On the women's side, China Cho wins, and 8 different countries are represented inside the top 10. Sam Dancer, your top finisher in the 35 to 39-year-old division, had all top 5 results in the 6 workouts except for workout number 4. Ioannis Papadopoulos, Roy Gamboa, Craig Kenny also qualifying to the 2022 Noble CrossFit Games. On the women's side, China Cho leads the pack. She only had 1 finish outside of the top 5. Other veterans include Amelia Lepinen, Carlene Matthews, and Anita Pravati. Let's head over to the 40 to 44-year-old divisions, where we have an athlete from Lebanon inside the top 5. Samir Zarour finishes in 2nd place for the 40 to 44-year-old men. And then on the women's side, Becca Voigt going back to the games yet again as she finishes in 3rd place. On the men's side, Michael Leverrier dominates. Every single finish was inside the top 10, and he won workout 4. He had 500 total points, 69 more than Zarour in 2nd place. And Alexander Jolivet gets 2 event wins, but he did have 2 finishes outside of the top 10. On the women's side, we had Becca Voigt-Miller finishes 3rd. Friel finished with 509 points to win by 64 points over Julia Roggio. Friel only finished outside the top 5 once in 6 workouts. Over on the 45 to 49-year-old side, looking at both leaderboards, the top 10 advancing to the 2022 Noble CrossFit Games. A man who aged up into this division takes the overall win. More on that in a second. Jason Grubb, the defending champ, finishes in 4th. Jason Grubb, mentioned him, finishes 4th. Consistency for the top 2, Vlad Liashkevich and Mike Kern, definitely paying off. Liashkevich never finished lower than 6th. Mike Kern had all top 5 finishes except for workout 4, where he took 17th. Open winner Angel Cardenas failed to qualify. He finished in 11th overall, 14 points out of a qualifying spot. And a name you did not see on the women's side. Defending champion Annie Sakamoto does not qualify. She has been battling a knee issue. She takes 13th. Michelle Susie has 3 event wins and wins the overall competition due to a tiebreak over Allie Crawford. Those are your qualifiers for the first part of the age group online semifinal. And for the top takeaways from what we saw last weekend, here's Tommy Marquez.
Thanks, Sean. 6 Masters divisions and 4 teenage divisions threw down this past weekend. And while results are still unofficial pending video and score review, here are my top 3 takeaways from weekend number 1 for the age group semifinals. Up first in the teenage divisions, these youngins, they can move some weight. We had 2 different workouts where things got heavy under very different circumstances. But in both instances, the teenage divisions really showcased their strength. In event 3, which was a repeat of the virtual semifinal snatch event from last season, Johan Roberts logged 30 snatches at 185, and Olivia Kerstetter hit 50 at 125 after breezing through the first 3 weights in their respective divisions. Then Olivia knocked out 260 wall balls before cleaning 242 pounds, and then Johan hit 330 on the clean. In both instances, they had a ton of work to do before they could earn their heavy, which makes their display of strength in the clean and jerk and the snatch that much more impressive. Up next, a division to keep your eye out for at the games has to be the women's 40 to 44 division. All 3 podium finishers last year's games are coming back, and as a reminder, Kelly Friel, Becca Voigt-Miller, and Kelly Marshall stood on the podium in this division in 2021. Both Jen Ryan and Becca Voigt-Miller declined their semifinals invites just a month ago to get a crack at this Masters division. And just like she did in Madison, Kelly Friel stands tall as the leader after the semifinal round. With the turnover we can typically see from year to year in the Masters division, I think it's interesting that we can add an athlete like Ryan to the mix because she was on the Invictus team at the games last year, and then still have the full podium requalify. That to me stands out as a division at the games that is going to be full of parity and is going to have a heated race for the podium come Sunday. And last but not least, we got some new phases for some familiar faces, and I'm talking about the 35 to 39 division. One thing that I think we'll see become more commonplace in this new era of Masters competition is seeing more and more previous individual games athletes each year qualify in the 35 to 39 division in the Masters competition. We've had glimpses of it in the past, including last year with some fun races, but now in 2022 we've got China Cho, Amelia Lepinen, Carlene Matthews on the women's side, Sam Dancer, Roy Gamboa, and Craig Kenny all inside a qualifying position at this point. It only adds to the intrigue to the Masters competition, and as the sport continues to mature over time, it brings me great joy as a fellow Masters age athlete now that athletes that have extensive experience in the individual divisions are able to continue to compete and do so at a high level in the Masters competition. Those are my top takeaways from weekend 1 of the age group semifinals, and I'm pumped to see weekend 2 and the rest of the age groups throw down this weekend. Sean?
We are in week number 3 of the online semifinals. 1 week remains, and right now the Granite Games are going on as well as the Far East Throwdown over in South Korea. And virtually, we have the second part of the age group online qualifier to the 50 to 65 plus athletes. And for the first time ever, we have our adaptive athlete online semifinal. You can keep posted on all the action on the CrossFit Games YouTube channel. And if you haven't already, remember the first 4 episodes of Miles to Madison are available now. You can check them out on the CrossFit Games YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the semifinals this weekend. I'm Sean Woodland, and we'll talk to you soon.